Hello and welcome to this segment of Biscom Breakfast Bubble, where we interview people with strong opinions on happenings around the world and of national concern. Today we are going to be discussing women inclusion in politics of Nigeria. And of course we are referring to the just rejected bill passed in the National Assembly for the inclusion of women in politics. All 5 of the demands were rejected. I have with me in the studio beautiful women of quality, knowledgeable at that. I have Jumoke Adeotaino. She is a news producer here at Biscom Communications. And I also have Stella Opara. She's a familiar face, of course, a news presenter and, of course, a producer as well. Many thanks for joining us in the studio today.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
For having us.
Yes, I mean, it's so funny that we have been working in the same space, but I think this is the first time we are meeting this way to speak on an issue of national concern.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Right.
Yes. And a very important one at that. You can see we are all women here. Not that we don't have men, but this is an issue of national concern, but relating to women. We're talking about the just rejected bill and passed in the National Assembly, which has raised a lot of eyebrows. You know, talking about women demanding for more seats in the National Assembly. In some countries, you have 30%, at least 30% inclusion of women in the political space. Some countries 22.7, like some places say. Some countries, like countries like Germany, Angela Merkel just finished her tenure and it was a long one at that. You could see many other countries, doing same. And Nigeria, it just seems to be something that we are yet to even come to understand. We are yet to accept. Even the women, I think, sometimes don't even want to accept it. It's almost like we are living. We don't want to embrace such, and it's a problem. That's why we are here to discuss it and understand what the implications are, especially for a young woman like you and I, who hopefully might also try to, have opinions in the political space in the future. Jumoke, I'm talking to you too.
Well, I'm not sure about politics for me, but I know that I like to get my opinions heard and I like to speak up for what I think has become an anomaly.
Funny enough, it cuts across several other aspects, not just politics. Politics cuts across many other aspects. So I think if we get it right here, it could also cut across many women also complain of their corporate organizations not giving them fair hearing just as they do men. And sometimes vice versa, but we are concentrating on the women part today. So let's go straight into it. Stella, what do you think about the fact that women even decided to push for this bill? Is it a hope for the Nigerian women? Because I don't think it has happened in such a massive way before. You have Aisha Buhari was present, the First Lady, the wife to the Vice President was present. We have Hajia Zainab Ahmed, the Minister of Finance, Budget, National Planning. We have Dame Pauline Talin, Minister of Women Affairs, all present to support the bill. Funny how it was still rejected, but what do you think about that? Is that a great step at least?
I want to start by thanking the First Lady, Aisha Buhari, and
the wife
of the Vice President, for taking such a great move, So kudos to them. But it's painful that the National Assembly, at the end of the day, rejected this bill. And it goes to show that they have compounded the already low representation of women in politics, and it also shows that the National Assembly, is less concerned about the plight of women in Nigeria. They've told us, both the House of Senate and House of Representatives, they told us that they were going to ensure that there's gender balance, in politics in Nigeria. But unfortunately, their action, belied what they said. So it's quite sad.
But could we get a little bit of hope from the way the women really took this serious? Trying their best, getting the First Lady, like you said, present. Could we get a glimmer of hope from that, at least?
Yes, there is hope, and it shows that women are ready to stand up, to fight for their right. We've been created with lots of potentials. We have abilities, and we should be allowed to express these abilities within us. So I'm happy that women are rising up to the occasion, and that's what I think prompted the First Lady to go to the Senate or to the National Assembly, for the voice of women to be heard. So there is hope. We are ready. I want to believe that women are ready, but the men folk should give us, freedom to express ourselves.
Okay, Jumoke, what do you think about the amount of people that voted against this bill? 208, according to whatever, 208 out of 290 lawmakers voted against this bill. And according to a certain senator from Abia State, who also, she tried her best, she was at the forefront of this bill, of the hearing of this bill. She said even some men who tried their best, who also spoke for this bill, when it was time to vote, all of a sudden they voted against it. So what do you think about that?
I'm going to start by saying that based on some statistics, the national average of women in politics in Nigeria has remained at 6.7%, and that's quite below the average global average participation, which should be not in less than 22.5 or above 30%. And speaking of women's participation in politics, I mean, isn't it quite laughable that women constitute 50% of voters' turnout at the 2019 election, and only for women to vote, and they don't even get the opportunity to hold offices, both elective and appointive offices in Nigeria. And I think that is why women are beginning to realize that, okay, we are an embodiment of grace. We can manage even the home front and even at a larger front. So why not we channel our energy, the energy that we put into our domestic areas, to a much larger space and see how we can thrive? Because, for example, a country like Rwanda, who was almost at the brink of collapse, but when they began to involve women in the politics, Rwanda is more like the country in Africa that is thriving, beginning to get international recognition based on the economy. So, I mean, statistics have shown that women in politics, things begin to go smooth. I mean, a woman who carried a baby for 9 months, I'm talking from the face of a mother now, would not want anything destroyed. She wants an upliftment. She wants peace, negotiations. For example, I mean, even the Russia and Ukraine crisis, I believe that if a woman is at the topmost end of affairs, there will be some level of negotiation. How can we go about this? We don't want our country to collapse, but it shows that women are strong. And I think the government should begin to consider women more in politics. Talking about women in politics also, we have seen the likes of Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, who was able to battle with world power, and she still became the chairman or president, of WTO. Take a look at Amina Mohammed at the United Nations. These are women who are thriving, who are making names for themselves. And I would say that it's still this level of patriarchy, this long age patriarchy. Oh, she's relegated to the domestic chores, to the kitchen, she doesn't have a voice. But women should begin to people should begin to give women the chance to hold offices, and definitely things will run smoothly.
If it was in a country where the women weren't doing their best, then we could understand. Of course, there are cases where women are not thriving. The case of Margaret Thatcher, a very good example of
an prominent one in Nigeria.
So
but I don't want to
that
mention.
you're a woman, that you're a woman doesn't necessarily mean you will do the job and do it well. But we've seen cases where women have been able to try their best, like you just mentioned Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. At the time when she was in Nigeria, it was almost like we weren't hearing enough of her compared to when she was not even in Nigeria. It's almost like there's a way you are underneath, and it looks like women are beginning to understand that they can do better outside the politics space, so they don't even bother going into it. One of the 5 demands, Stella, that the women clamored for was that if I'm married to a foreigner, you are married to me, so you can have the right to also become a citizen of Nigeria. I know cases where even people I know, married someone who has gotten citizenship outside, and because you're married to a woman outside there, your case is different. You become a citizen of the country. And it has helped a lot of people who are trying to, go to other countries where they feel their profession or their career will be more appreciated. So what do you think? This demand, do you think is so bad or so irrational that it should have been rejected?
It shouldn't have been rejected, because if a man marries a woman and she automatically becomes a national of where the man is from, so what stops the man from also becoming the national of where the woman is from? There shouldn't be any bias, so if it applies to the woman marrying the man, then it should apply also to the man marrying the woman. So up till now, I'm still trying to find the rationale behind the rejection of that bill. But to be sincere, I haven't found one. So that means they're trying to compound the dichotomy, between the man and the woman, trying to, segregate. And this shouldn't be. Once it's applicable to one party, then it should be applicable to the other party.
Thank you for saying that, because according to the senator, which I choose to not mention her name, from Abia State, by the way, she said that some women, wives of some of the men that supported the bill at first, all of a sudden didn't want it as well, because they said if we are one of the bills says that there should be an additional seat in each state dedicated for a woman as well only. So they began to think that if that happens, then there might be little opportunity for their husbands in the Senate, so they are also not in support, as well as the men. Maybe some of them didn't read the bill before it was voted, and then last minute voting against. So what do you think about that?
Well, if you ask me, I am not totally in support of that, because I feel that the National Assembly is already over bloated with so many representatives that some people say they are not actually doing their job to their full capacity. I am not in support of creating additional seats, but I feel that we can allocate some seats to women within the already numbered number seats in the National Assembly, but not creating extra. That's going to tell our economy, because they're also going to fund these people. They are also bringing into the National Assembly. So I'm not really in support of creating additional seats.
It wasn't the initial proposal during the 8th Republic, and even republics before that. They've been clamoring for women inclusion. It's not even something that we are strange to. It's just that they took it to a different dimension this time. They really got power horses to speak about it. But in the 8th Republic, they asked for inclusion of women in the already available seats, and it was not given, which many other people have clamored for. It was not given. That is the reason why since you don't want to,
so let
any seats go, because it's almost like it's a man's world in the Senate, just 13 women. Since you don't want to let any seats go for a woman, because that's the fear, a woman will not come and take over and tell us. So can we create seats for us? That is almost like they resorted to that because it looked like there was no other. They tried their best and there was no other solution. When it comes to the economy, there's every reason to bring down so it is not like an interview session, it is a discussion, because I'm talking to my fellow.
But
these are my
if you
colleagues.
ask me, let me try to play devil's advocate here. Are there really any restrictions to women joining politics? I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here. Are there any laws that are restricting women, that are relegating women from joining politics? Because I really, really want to understand what exactly they want the National Assembly to do. Is it, for example, make politics form free? Maybe that would make more women go into politics. So I really, really, really do want to understand.
Stella, do you have some sort of
Okay. Yeah, well, I don't think there's any restriction, for women to join politics. As far as you're able to pay for the expression of interest form and you join your political party, you are able to, contest. So, well, it's just that the underlying tone to it. And I want to believe it's about, should I say, the mindset or the norm surrounding the culture and the marriage.
Yes.
Especially in African countries. You know, there's this norm that portrays women as subordinate to men. Okay, I would like to make this clear, you know, before I go ahead. Now, when we talk about marriage, God has created it in such a way that the woman or the man is the head of the woman. So we're not contesting that when it comes to marriage, husband.
We're not being feminist yet.
Exactly. So the woman submits to the man. The man, you know, is at the helm of affairs, and the woman, you know, helps.
Yes, in the home.
Now, even at that, God has created every man, both man, woman, you know, female, male, equally, and He has given us potentials, ability, and we must fulfill purpose on earth. So when it comes to the corporate world, you know, we have to unleash this potential, because at the end of the day, if we don't, it will be dormant, and when we go back to meet our Creator, He will ask us how well we have used these abilities. So I want the men to have this paradigm shift. Women are not
we're not trying to contest power with you.
That's one. We're not trying to compete. And secondly, we are not subordinates. We are not slaves to the men folk, you know. we are equal when it comes to
halfway.
When it comes to, you know, performing and doing what we are called to do.
Yeah, like what Jumoke said, is it that because even if we are talking gender equality, equal opportunity has been given to women and men. Even in Nigeria, you can contest, you can form your own political party, if one party, but we all know how it is here. And this wouldn't have been an issue in Western countries if they didn't make intentional efforts to bring women into the space. It's not like they just woke up one morning. The culture of segregating women to the backseat has been, even in the Western world, they had to make intentional efforts before it started, you know, settling in the minds of people that women can also do this. So that's the stage we are at. And as a developing country, we are trying to make it intentional, because if we leave it like this, it's already in the minds of men based on culture, which you might not even really blame them as much, because it's a cultural thing now. Culture means way of life, how you were brought up. Some parents don't even help matters here in Nigeria, and that's how they were brought up as well. So if you want to change anything, reform anything, there has to be intentional efforts. So say, let's make one seat. From there, as time goes on, you get used to seeing women in that. It won't be an issue.
And may I add that even in the 19th centuries, women were not even allowed to own properties. They were not allowed to vote. So if people at that period didn't stand up to speak, we just assume that, oh, it's normal. So, because I hear people say, women, stop acting entitled, nobody has stopped you from contesting political office. But like Stella said, we all know the undertone. This is a patriarchal society. We know that women are not really allowed to speak, and women's voices are not really heard. So I think it is time for us to speak up now. And I want to salute women who are at the forefront of this bill, trying to make sure that things change. And naysayers should just stop saying that women should go and sit down. We need to talk, and normalities should not be seen as norms. As the year goes by, things need to change for our generations to come. I'm sure that generations to come will be proud to say that, okay, at least women stood up for what is right and what should be.
So thank you very much. You could see countries. I've mentioned Angela Merkel from Germany. Did she do a good job? I don't think she did badly. In Norway, you have women that's at the forefront. You have Erna Solberg. Norway has one of the best economies in the world. Erna Solberg. School fees free. You know, many people want to go to Norway and get free education. More people from it. And a woman for a long time was at the helm of affairs, and nothing changed. In fact, it's almost like
IMF, you know, Christine Lagarde, she's performing excellently well.
So, and you notice that even in financial institutions these days, we have women who are becoming CEOs. Because I saw a meme on the internet where we have almost 8 women heading major banks in Nigeria. There must be a reason for that. Women are good managers.
Women are more calculative, you know. And you could say, I'm sure some men will be watching this and be like, well, we don't expect
they know the
anything
truth.
less.
They know the truth.
So we would like to tell the men folk,
please, including Mr. Dare behind the camera.
Okay. please, you have to intentionally allow the women to express themselves. Okay, now I remember Pastor Bimbo Dukoya of blessed memory, you know. She was thriving, and because the husband allowed her, you know, to express herself, you know. So it shows that the man is he's mature, and he's confident. He's not afraid that this woman's voice will overshadow mine. You know, he gave exactly. He has good self-esteem, and he gave the woman the freedom to express herself. You know, so I want to encourage all the men folks. We are not competing. We're just trying to, you know, be ourselves. You know, make good use of the gifts that God has deposited inside of us. You know, so men, you don't have to be afraid. So be intentional. Give us the freedom. Allow women to come up and, you know, and perform wonders.
And I was also reading something that we have just 4 vice deputy governors who are women, just 4.
And sometimes I feel they just do that for varieties, not because they really want women to be.
Yeah, out of the 306 House of Representatives, we have just 22 women. In the Senate, just 7 women. I mean, that's just the gap is too wide.
Right.
That's just below as what should be. So I mean, it is not shocking that women have begun to realize that. No, we are being cheated actually.
Exactly.
We are being cheated.
Women are actually trying their best now. We have many organizations talking about women, giving women voice, chance. You know, a chance. We have Evolving Women in Politics and many other organizations like that you can join as a woman. You're a woman out there. You have a voice. You know that you could change things in a society. Don't let anything, the culture, whatever it looks like, stop you. We're always Zekosili. She tried her best. And I don't think she has given up. She's one of the women I respect so much, even though even her fellow women were not really in support. And I'm not saying because she's a woman she'll be a better president.
Yeah. We're just saying give her a chance. Let us see what she can do. Agenda should not be a reason for you to put her aside.
We have 2 major political parties. Let's even be more direct. We have 2 major political parties. What are you doing about this? Is it that you don't intend to have any woman at the forefront in any time soon? What are you saying? Do you have ladies, young girls in your houses? Are they doing well in their various areas of calling? Do you think they could handle affairs in the society if given a chance? We know of daughters of people in high political positions who are heading great organizations in Nigeria, meaning they know that women could do great. It doesn't have to be your family member. So that's what we're trying to say. Give us a chance. Thank you very much. Any last words?
Well, just basically, women who are fronting this bill, who are fronting this change, I want to implore you that you guys should not give up. I love the fact that I mean I've watched a lot of interviews and I've seen different women representing different organizations. I like the fact that there is a togetherness in this fight, and I want to believe that this is not falling on deaf ears, that the National Assembly would, at the end of the day, you know, meet us halfway and see how we can discuss and see how we can make women participate more in decision making in politics to guarantee a greater Nigeria. I believe so.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And like she said, I would want the National Assembly to please review the bill and let it be passed again. You know, go ahead.
Unfortunately, it has been signed.
But isn't there a way out?
There should be a way out.
Is that the end?
I don't want to.
It took time before he signed the bill. There were lots of amendments. It took time.
It can be.
Many people were beginning to wonder why. Of course, it can be.
So please, National Assembly has to go back to the drawing table and do the needful. And again, I want to also talk about making the cost of politics, you know, less expensive, you know, because a lot of women might not have the financial capability, you know, to vie for top positions.
They did try to reduce the forms for women than the forms for men.
So women
But we
don't want to
already
hear
know,
that.
even if they buy forms,
Women don't want
you
to
know
hear
that
that.
the political party you're trying to be in are not in support of women. So even the half is too much a sacrifice,
They
because
will
you know you might
tell
not get
that
there.
you did not pay for this form and you want to come and win
Exactly.
this office. Now that is what you're saying.
Well, the
We don't want cheap forms.
Okay.
We want to buy the same price, the same amount, but don't let our agenda hamper our progress in our political journey. That's what we are saying.
Yeah, well, it's not really cheap forms, but generally, even for both men and women, make the cost of election campaigns, let it be,
Yes,
less
because our future
exorbitant.
president might not be so rich.
Oh, we could have
And then when
that.
he starts getting sponsors, they'll start demanding things when he becomes president in exchange for their support, things like that. Hence corruption. So please look into it. Thank you very much, Jumoke Adeota. I know the beautiful and knowledgeable news producer here at Biscuit Communications. We have the best here. We also have Stella Opara, who's not a stranger to you. You've seen her; she's a familiar face, reading the news in the best way. And as you've just heard from the way she's spoken, she could just be the next president of Nigeria. She has only
I'm rooting for you, girl.
since Jumoke says she does not want to, die for a political position, but she will change her mind after this, I'm sure of that. Thank you so much for being a part of this segment. I hope you learned a thing or two. And if you're a woman out there, I hope you've been motivated, to get up on your seats, get your PVCs, and vote
tell
for
them
the right candidate.
PVC, tell
Be
them
intentional.
Exactly. You need to.
I'm
add your
Agape
PVC.
Okemiri. Till next time, stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye.